The last part of this video relates to the modification that we will have to make to the tremolo itself, and it's the most tricky one. In my opinion, these are the modifications that will have the highest positive impact on your tuning. But they involve some skilled craftsmanship and special tuning, so I suggest that you leave that to a qualified repairman. Okay, let's go over that. Okay, so our goal with the bridge as well is to remove the most possible the sharpest points that the strings encounters coming from the nut, passing over the saddle, entering the bridge plate and entering the sustain block. As a personal suggestion, I don't suggest you to touch the saddle. Probably the strings that you're using, that you use until now, has already made some natural slots on the saddle. Trying to modify the slots with a file or whatever for the good you might be in polishing it and flattening it will always leave some blurs here that will retain the moisture and will retain some dirt, which in this particular position is very dangerous, because may weaken the string in this point and cause string breakage. First thing we have to do is disassemble the whole bridge so that the bridge plate is separated from the sustain block, which is that part where you see in red the string entering and being fixed here at the very initial part of that. Second thing, we will have to deepen that hole that holds the strings and the ball end in place, so that that ball end is no longer here at the beginning of the hole of the sustain block, but ends up to arrive here, and you will have a ball end that way. You will know that you have deepened the hole at the correct depth, because you will see the initial wrappings of the string structure rising out from the bridge here. Let me show you how they appear on the Wilkinson bridge. Here they are. Going back to the bridge plate, we will have to make two kinds of modification. The bridge plate is made like that, where here you have some 6 holes which are passed through by the screws that holds the whole tremolo into the body. Here you have the holes of the intonation screws which go into the saddle, and here you have the hole going that receives the string coming from the saddle like that. We have seen that in the previous part of the video. So we will have to have manufactured a special drill bit made like that, that being rounded here will allow us to shape the hole, the initial part of the hole, like that in this position, so that the string will no longer encounter a sharp angle as before, but will encounter a smoothened surface that will help our tuning stability. The second modification we will have to make to the bridge is reducing the depth of this large temperate shaped hole here, so that in this area of the bridge plate here it remains only a few material. I will now show you how to do that with the drawing. So first of all, we will need to have a special drill bit manufactured, made like that. Here is it. As I told you before, we will use that to deepen the temperate shaped hole under the bridge plate, but now it's like that and leaves this space and this space for the screw to lean, to deepen it till we get to a sharper point here, like that. Here we are. This will allow the screw that goes into the body and fix the tremolo to work together with the bridge plate like a full cone tremolo. There is one last tip which is not strictly necessary. I mean that if you go over that video and all the modification that we saw together, you will get a perfect tuning stability with your guitar. But if you want to be very, very precise, there is one last thing. You see, that this one is one of the screws that you will that will fix the bridge onto the body. You put them inside here. But it's something we can make on this screw. I mean, carving a small slot in this area around the screw to make it like that one. Let me show you how to do that. So this is the side view of the screw. You just bring the screws to one of these companies who use milling machines, you know, work with iron and steel stuff, and tell them to make a slot all around the screw that way, so that finally the screw becomes something like that here, and leaving about 2 millimeters at this point. What will happen? Will happen that later, after we sharpen the bridge plate, as I showed you before, the bridge plate will enter here and creating a sort of floating razor edge floating bridge. This is the effect. There may be one last thing that we may do to improve our tuning stability on the bridge side, and it's to remove the 4 internal screws of the bridge and just leave the outer ones, because the outer ones are in fact enough to hold the whole system and the bridge. But I will not suggest to do that, in my opinion, of course, for 2 reasons. The first reason is that I think that this screw, each of them, has some importance in transmitting the tone from the strings to the body. And secondly, frankly, after all the modification that I show you in this video, your tuning stability will be perfect, and removing them is absolutely you know, useless. But anyway, this is my opinion. Try maybe on your side and, you know, make experiment on that and see if you like the tone with or without them.